up with my uncle as the lieutenant of the North Hollywood Division, and I've always had respect for officers when I've been in situations, but I can't say it's always been returned. I've been in many situations where I've been discriminated against.
Hit by horses.
Like here in Burbank, when the first week I moved to Burbank, I was riding my bike without a helmet with 3 other white kids. None of us were wearing helmets, and I was the only one that got the ticket for not wearing a helmet. I got my arm dislocated for dancing on the freeway in the shoulder lane. We were dead stop traffic. I decided to get out of the car and start dancing to Justin Timberlake's Sexy Back because we were bored sitting there forever. Cop pulls up, throws me against the hood of the car, dislocates my shoulder, and the other 3 white people with me were fine. I've always been the only colored person in my groups, and I've always been the one that's discriminated against. They've lied in court, and to me, they have the power, and I just let it go.
I think that it's unfortunate that, those things happen. And, I feel bad because when I hear stories like that, and I know my experience and I know how I treat people and people I work with, it makes me feel like, when someone does something that discredits the badge that I've worked my life to uphold and keep shiny, So when I see things in the news, I give the benefit of the doubt because I know that a camera angle of 10 seconds doesn't tell the whole story. So, and I'm not the one looking at all the evidence or, all the statements and talking to people, so I reserve judgment. So just like I don't hold, one whole race, I don't think something about a whole race because of one person of that race. I don't think that cops should be all looked at as being,
in one broad brush.
Yeah, like there's police brutality all around the world or all around the country because of these 5 or 6 incidents that have happened over the last 12 months.
But it's been going. It's not just the last 12 months. It's been going
Well,
on
I'm just
since
saying
like
the
50s.
highlighted.
That's why it's been going. I mean, that's why the Black Panther Party started and all that. So it's been going on for years.
But you can't paint a broad brush on.
But the problems have always been happening. The only thing that's new is the cameras. The problems have always been happening. The only thing that's new right now is that we have cameras to videotape the footage and share it on like Facebook and make everyone else more aware. So the problems have always been happening.
In certain cases where the officer's saying there was a gun, the police chief saying there was a gun, there's a picture of the gun, and everybody's saying who wasn't there, who wasn't involved,
was a book.
Says there was no gun, there was a book. Like, I mean, I would give the benefit of the doubt to the investigation and the evidence that leads up to it, similar to what happened in Missouri. Was it Missouri, St. Louis, or
which one? With the one hands
Ferguson,
up, the hands up, right? Don't shoot one?
Ferguson, yeah. Where his hands weren't up when he got shot, and it was proven through many witnesses that they lied. Things like that. Like, it came out, but I reserve judgment. I'm like, hey, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, but there are people that were there. There are witnesses that were interviewed. There's a process. Department of Justice comes in. That's all part of the system we live in. And then when it comes out that it's not what you thought or what I thought, because if it came out that he lied and they're going to go to jail, then they got to go to jail, whether they're police officer or otherwise. I think that everybody should be held accountable. But yes, we are set to a higher standard, police officers, and we should be. We should be held to a higher standard. But we're still human. We're people. We're not different than anybody in this room could be a police officer. It's just with the right training and dedication, you can do it. But we're human and we make mistakes.
But that's a big mistake to make when you end somebody's life.
And
I mean, it's not like you're running a red light. You're killing. I mean, I don't want to use, but you.
But the way that the media or society or social media puts it on an officer that kills somebody that's a different race is that they killed them because of that.
But the one that just happened previously was a black. He was a black officer that killed a black man.
Right.
So it wasn't a white officer. So it's actually.
It's just that he's an officer.
And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And that's what this scenario, this recent one was like. It doesn't matter.
Officer,
it doesn't matter
suspect.
to me. If you're an officer, I don't care what color you are. If you're killing someone based on, because even for me as a black man, like I recognize, even though I grew up in an urban community, there are times when I am afraid, and I have to check myself when I see someone who's looking thuggish. And those things are there for me. of someone who looks like me.
Oh hell yeah, I'm like that too. Like
so
I
it
know,
doesn't mean
I check my surroundings. I'm not stupid.
These things don't disappear because you're wearing a uniform. So we have to recognize. Anyway, I'm just like.
No, go ahead. You got it.
No, I'm just saying we have to recognize
That's why we got you
like,
here.
that doesn't mean that as soon as you put on a uniform that no matter what color if you are, if you're shooting someone, like race does still play an issue on how you feel in that judgment, in that sense of like, is this person dangerous or not? And it tends to seem like it's people who are minorities.
Yeah, even on the video, like when they were recording that dude, they were like, he's a big black, he looks intimidating. Like even the helicopter, like the chopper, when they were like hovering around, it's like, they didn't even know what's going on, you know what I mean? And they're just like automatically in there, they're just saying he's intimidating, he's a black man. So it's like, they must have, I don't want to say all cops, but you know what I mean? They have something in
you're bigger.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid, you know, I'm a slim man.
Cool.
And I've heard people say, you seem friendly, you seem like normal, whatever.
But there has to be, you have to be careful of the media because they're only going to, their only business is to drive ratings.
Right.
Yeah. It's my business. And so they're looking to drive ratings, get YouTube views, get all of that. That's the only thing that they're interested in. There have been several instances where other ethnicities have been shot by cops and killed. There was a white guy in Bakersfield who was on the ground with his hands like this, and they shot him. And there was no clear evidence, but you don't really know that story. So you just have to be careful about what, you have to go deeper and
it's not just
kind
color,
of see the facts like he's saying. It'll all spell itself out in the facts. And you can't really just rely on the media. You have to dig deeper.
I'm not trying to like, don't think I'm coming after you. I think you're a good cop. Don't think like I'm attacking you or anything like that. So I'm not questioning your ethics or anything at all. So please don't feel offended.
I think you're a very nice person.
Just you're a cop here, and everything that's been going on especially the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So we're just kind of like, oh, I found out you're a cop, so I kind of want to dig in and get your opinion on something. So.